This is the Serial at Midnight podcast bonus episode, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles commentary. Hello and welcome to the Serial at Midnight podcast. My name is Heath Holland.
And I'm Bree Holland.
Bree, it is so nice to have you here. Are you the silent half of Serial at Midnight?
Yes, the very silent half.
You used to be in the video, so you're my wife, right? We're married. You used to be in videos.
We are.
I know, breaking news. Gotcha. We used to be in a lot more videos than you are now. Life got busy for you, and you've kind of taken a quiet role, a silent role behind the scenes here. But you are often requested. Like, seriously, people are like, where's Bree? When can Bree come back to talk about so-and-so? So for the Thanksgiving holiday, here's what we thought would be fun for the podcast as well. We recorded an audio commentary for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. John Hughes, Steve Martin, John Candy, for the Patreon, our Patreon supporters in 2019. And
many years ago.
Many years ago, I was but a young man. And ever since then, it's been on Patreon. Thought that this would be a great occasion to open it up for everybody. So it's not a video commentary. We only recorded audio. And now everyone has the opportunity to download this podcast. If you're watching this video version on YouTube, there is no video for our conversation. It is audio only. But that's why
you can watch the movie.
So you can watch the movie, right? So you can watch the movie, see? But see, here's the thing. You can download the podcast, put it in your ears, and watch the movie while you listen to our commentary.
Works without the movie too.
It does. We're going to cut to the commentary in just a second. We count it down in the actual commentary. We'll tell you everything you need to know. But we wanted this is our gift to you guys. To everyone that celebrates Thanksgiving, please have a happy, healthy holiday. Please remember to thumbs up. If you're watching this on YouTube, thumbs up, subscribe, support this channel any way you can. And if you're listening to the audio version of this, rate, review, subscribe. Those are the things. Tell all your friends about us. Let everybody know that Serial at Midnight has a podcast, and that we're doing some great interviews and talking to a lot of cool people and doing things like this, audio commentaries. So, Bree, without further...
I want to say,
go ahead.
and know that we are grateful for you.
So grateful. They're really thankful for you guys. Thankful that you're here with us listening to this. Thank you for being part of our the Serial at Midnight family. So, without further ado, take it away, Heath and Bree from 2019. Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Serial at Midnight audio commentary for the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. My name is Heath, and I am joined for this commentary by the other half of Serial at Midnight, Bree. Welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Welcome to the Serial at Midnight studios for this commentary of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We are going to do a countdown to introduce the movie. So we'll do 3, 2, 1, then hit play. This should be screen specific. We do plan to watch the movie with you. So if you want to...
On that note, it is important to point out we're not experts.
That's true.
On this movie. We don't know anybody who worked on the movie. We're just fans of the movie.
That's right. It's just kind of an opportunity to watch the movie with us. We're inviting you into the Thanksgiving tradition. And I also have to thank the Patreon community. This was voted on by the Patreon community. So this commentary exists because of them. So thanks to Patreon. Thank you guys for listening. And we're going to count it in 3, 2, 1, play. So I have the Paramount logo. The stars are swirling around swooping even around a snowy tippy-top mountain peak. Congratulations on 75 years, Paramount. You did it. I don't even know when that was from. Is that the original logo? Probably not. Or was it? Oh, now I'm curious.
We don't know.
I'm just talking.
Okay.
just talking. So this is kind of a Thanksgiving tradition, I believe. I think for a lot of people, this movie has come to be a Thanksgiving annual tradition. I know we watch it on Thanksgiving, or we tend to. I don't think we watch it every Thanksgiving.
No, but we have watched it on Thanksgiving.
I have seen this movie before, and it has been occasionally on Thanksgiving.
Yes, that's what I've noticed.
Does this movie go back to you? Like, does this go back to your childhood?
No, I actually did not see this when I was younger. I saw it for the first time just a few years ago. 2021.
Just casting it into the future there.
The first time I saw this was 2022.
I remember the good old days of 2022. I think so much has changed since then with the flying cars and the Soylent Green.
The Soylent Green.
You're eating people for Thanksgiving. So this is a John Hughes jam. We've got Steve Martin. I'm just going to name the people on the screen. What if I just resort, whenever there's nothing to say, what if I just resort to the Arnold Schwarzenegger commentary thing again? What was that from? Where did that I think that was the Home Alone commentary where we...
that sounds right. Where we talked about how he just relays
describes
the details of what's happening on the
screen. So this is the scene where Steve Martin is in the boardroom and he's like, I got to get out of here for Thanksgiving dinner. So Thanksgiving movies. Go ahead. What were we going to say?
I was saying, he's in New York, right? Trying to get to Chicago, or is it the reverse?
I don't know that they've told us yet in the movie.
I think that's right. Put up where they were. Okay. But we were just chatting. So
I'm not watching. I've never seen this movie before.
We don't even have it playing. We're just talking about it without it even on the screen.
What is this? Planes, monorails, and
subways.
Airplanes, subways, and cars.
Trolleys.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so yeah, he's trying to get home for yes. I'll see you in Chicago, John. That's it. Okay. Yes. Now there's a little Kevin Bacon thing going on here pretty soon.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was interesting that I learned when we were doing some research for this, we actually do research our commentaries. We don't do, in spite of the claim that the appearance we don't have it on.
We don't know anything about the movie. We've never seen this before.
Yeah, what I was interested to learn. So there's like Kevin Bacon is in She's Having a Baby, but She's Having a Baby didn't come out until 1988.
So and this was 87.
But it had been shot,
right,
and it was finished,
right. Wasn't that also a John Hughes movie?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that's the connection here.
And these are John Hughes movies that kind of seem deliberately geared towards adults,
right?
Both this and
that's what I was just thinking.
No, I mean I did see this as a kid. I don't think there's the scene with all the F-bombs in it.
Right.
I don't think I saw that when I was a kid, but it may be a case. Well, no, because this movie's rated R, right? So no, I did not see this movie as a kid. I must have seen it on television or something because.
Well, that would have been edited out on television, probably.
Yeah, well, most definitely would have been edited out. But my point is just that. Well, that was a close call. That made my stomach turn, you guys. Woo. But I was just gonna say, like, these seem so deliberately geared towards adults that he could have cut out that F word scene. We'll talk about it when we get there. But the point is, this seems to be John Hughes at the peak of his Hughesiness, right? Like, this is after. This is after all those teen hits.
Yeah. And
he seems to be going like, okay, we're doing something else here. These are for grown-ups. These are grown-up movies. To the point that, he has made them rated R. Like, this movie is deliberately rated R, which I just think is an interesting choice.
He did that deliberately?
We don't want your kid. Well, he had to have, right? Because the only thing in this movie that makes it rated R is that scene with all the F-bombs.
Right. 18 F-bombs.
If he cut it, if those weren't there, it would have been, PG-13.
Yeah.
And
that's a great scene, though.
He'd been established as the guy it's a great scene. But he'd been established as the guy who was the voice. What were they calling him in the 80s? He was like the voice of the current generation. Like, he got young people.
Mm-hmm. He was the voice of teens.
He was
teens and adolescents.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And now I think he gets some criticism. But we should say this movie's directed by John Hughes. I don't think that was ever explicitly stated. I think everybody knows that, but just to be very clear.
Yeah.
But nowadays, there's kind of been a backlash against that. I mean, like, well, the teen iconography of his movies, it's just too heightened. It's not realistic. But growing up, like, I was watching his movies in the 90s, and they did feel more realistic than a lot of the stuff that Hollywood was cranking out. And I'm thinking, so this is 16 Candles, The Breakfast Club, Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and then Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Followed by She's Having a Baby. So decidedly not necessarily family movies.
Right.
But I don't know. It's bold choice, John Hughes. I think I
think we both read that it was based on his own experience traveling from. I think he was trying to travel either from New York to Chicago or Chicago to New York and got diverted in Kansas.
Yeah, I read they ended up in Phoenix, right?
Oh, I read Wichita, Kansas. Oh, maybe nobody really knows.
Maybe they don't.
Maybe they're just
Maybe he just disappeared completely, and he like the person that came back was a replacement, was a robot copy.
Bizarro, John Hughes.
Which is why he never again really made the high school movie. I think he didn't direct. He didn't go back to directing any high school movies. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna check that. Yeah, that's correct. After She's Having a Baby, he did Uncle Buck and Curly Sue. He was done. He was like, I'm done. That's because, as we now know, like Paul is dead. John Hughes never. Whatever happened to the real John Hughes in where did you say it was? Kansas?
Yeah, Wichita, Kansas.
In Wichita. Mm-hmm. He may still be there in hiding or working for the government.
Missing. Yeah.
The government.
Maybe he's at Area 51.
Yeah. We should say, this seems like an appropriate time to say rest in peace, John Hughes. We love you. We miss you. He was so prolific of his time, like the 80s and then the very beginning of the 90s. Kind of talked about him on our Home Alone commentary because he didn't direct that movie, but he was all over it. And then he was just like, no. It seems like the kind of movies that he wanted to make, the door closed on those, and he was content to just walk away from that. I think he had a really tough time with the studio system. I've read that he had difficult personal issues at the time of this movie as well. I don't know.
I saw that too. There was no specifics.
Yeah, I was curious what that was.
I don't know. We don't know.
And then
we don't have to know.
She's having a... No, it's his personal business. It's, quote, private information. But like She's Having a Baby feels kind of personal too. So it's just interesting. Mm-hmm. Interesting how the guy that was the mouthpiece of a generation just kind of walked away from it. There may be more to it than that. That's kind of simplifying it. He may have been asked to leave. I don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
We can only speculate.
We shouldn't. There is a really cool documentary about John Hughes that these people try to go find him and see like what he's doing and why he left. And it ends up being kind of an appreciation. I don't remember the title of it. I'm going to look it up, the title of it real quick, because it's in the collection. But what they kind of end up, it's like half appreciation, half... I feel like the part of the movie that's trying to find him is kind of reality TV, whatever. But the part that's trying to find him is really just an appreciation of like, wow, after he left... It was just really different after that. Don't You Forget About Me is the name of the documentary. And I miss him. We need that voice. We had a revival of teen movies in the 90s, and I don't know, I miss him. Have you had any travel experiences that went as sideways as this movie does?
Are you asking me or the viewers?
I was asking you. I was asking you since you're here in the room.
Maybe giving them something to think about.
Hey guys,
have you ever had?
If you have,
take a moment to think.
Let's reflect on that, and then be thankful about what we do have this holiday season.
Yeah.
No, but have you had any terrible travel experiences? Have you ever been snowed into an airport or?
I've never been snowed into an airport. Actually, you know what? When I was flying back to the U.S. from Canada, I had been in Calgary.
Yeah.
And my flight went to Texas. I think it was Dallas, but I can't remember for sure.
DFW.
And I believe what happened, I can't remember exactly. I know that my flight was canceled for some reason, so I ended up having to stay overnight. At
the airport, or did you guys?
What happened was I was by myself, and
how old would you say you were?
Oh, I was
8, 9,
20, or 21. No, I was by myself, but it was fine. And since it was for some reason the airline's fault or something, I can't remember exactly what happened. But anyway, they put me up in a hotel, so that was nice.
That is nice.
Yeah. Side note, interestingly, I didn't realize it at the time, but I had a cracked elbow. From the snowboarding I had done in Canada. So I was like, why does my arm hurt so much? Then I got back and found out.
Which arm was it?
It was my left arm.
Did you think you were having a heart attack?
I did not, because it felt... Listen, that was the third time I've broken my arm, so I knew broken arm pain.
Okay.
Yeah. No, it did not feel like heart attack pains. No.
And you would know.
Well, how would I... Oh, for broken arm. Like, not heart attack. I've never had a heart attack.
I was just joking. No. I don't think I've had any horrible travel experiences like that.
Mm-hmm. You know, though, I can relate for sure to... Well, Well, I've never gone first class. I've never had that luxury. Never. I can see absolutely why people do it, because this coach experience,
is the most, taking off the socks,
which is the most affordable for everyone.
Affordable, you mean?
Well,
it's the one that
not
doesn't
really the one that doesn't cost your entire life savings.
Yeah. Airline prices have gotten crazy.
Oh man, way out of control. But yeah, you have zero room to move any direction, forward, backward, left.
This guy pops up in so many John Hughes movies.
Yeah, he does.
He's in Home Alone. Is he in Uncle Buck? That guy's in Uncle Buck.
Yeah,
he is. I think I saw him on Uncle Buck.
I'm
pretty sure.
I think so. I think
he's in Uncle Buck. Anyway, you were saying about first class. Is that a life goal for you?
I mean, it would be nice to fly first class, maybe at least once in my life, but because the coach ride is just so challenging, especially when you have a long flight. It's really hard.
We did an international flight. You and I did an international flight. This has nothing to. We're just like not even talking about that movie. Now. So, what are your life goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years? By the way, I do want to say I love Steve Martin's hat in this movie. Hats are making a comeback, but I feel like we went far too long without classy, dapper hats and hashtag bring back hats. But we had an international flight. I'm thinking of the one to Spain. And do you remember how long that flight was? Was it 17 hours or something?
No, it's not that long. The flight to Spain is 8 or 9 hours.
Oh. Are you sure? I thought it was like 4.5 days. It was one of the worst experiences of my life because you're in this, it was so cramped, so crowded, and you got the people, no one took their socks off like John Candy does in this movie, but it just, I don't know, it's the closest to hell on earth that I think you can get, hell above the earth, nightmare at 20,000 feet. I can never remember the Twilight Zone episode with William Shatner. I can never remember how many thousand feet it is. I think it's 20,000 feet. Anyway.
Yeah, I will say, upcoming,
yes.
I'm supposed to go on this trip to China.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Which is a very long flight that I'm not looking forward to at all.
No. Ben Stein, shout out for Ben Shout out.
Look, the destination says nowhere.
It does say nowhere. Good call.
Yeah.
I also read, I should stick with Ben Stein. So he had done Bueller at this point. Bueller. And so John Hughes seemed to have loyalty to the people that came into, like that old guy that was on the plane next to.
That seems true for most directors, though. But I feel like,
that's true.
Acting and directing really takes people who are able to cooperate well together and get along well. Yeah. So I could see why that would be something that happens often. That loyalty, knowing who you work well with or who you don't work well with. Because, it's a long time that you're together.
Yeah.
Doing this thing.
That's true. You kind of go forged through fire. And if you don't like working with somebody, you're not going to invite them back. But if you do and that person can do a good job, you're going to want them back. So that makes sense. Just a little insider note. I had a hat like John Candy has in this. I had a wool shepherd's hat, like a driver's cap. And I washed it and dried it. And it came out it was like a Barbie hat at the end of the day. It was like so small. The hole was like 3 inches across at that point. I was like, oh, I guess I'm done with that.
I like that story. That's a very funny story.
Yeah, I think I haven't told a whole lot of people that story.
No. You had told me that story.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Oh, there's another thing making it rated R. And this guy would pop up again in Billy Madison.
I think this guy was my Uber driver one time.
Look at hey, Garfield air freshener.
Rolling Stones.
We got a Garfield fan on the.
Oh, that's true.
On the commentary.
Well, we both like Garfield.
Yeah, that's true.
I really like Garfield though.
And we had a great time watching Garfield's Halloween adventure.
I had a song from that
with our Patreon supporters. Which, you can't sing it because they'll crack down on us. But what's the title of it?
The one thing I'm not is a scaredy cat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet sounds of Lou Rawls. It's a pretty sweet ride, man.
You like that? You like the look of that car?
I don't know. It's got character. It's got class.
It's a bit gaudy.
It doesn't have class,
opinion.
But it's got. Well, no, it is gaudy, but Works for the movie.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Did you read that? I don't know if this is true. This sounds apocryphal. Isn't it apocryphal, the word that means that it's based on nothing, that it's not true? I think that's what apocryphal means. Anyway, no bare feet in the lobby. That John Hughes originally wanted John Travolta, and he wanted Tom Hanks for the Steve Martin part and John Travolta for the John Candy part. That
seems like really bad casting.
It does seem like really bad casting.
It doesn't seem like it would work. I mean, maybe I could see Tom Hanks in
especially 87 Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, but Tom Hanks is not usually as...
Before he was America's sweetheart.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't imagine him as grumpy or angry as this guy is. But I could see him in that role, I suppose. I could not see John Travolta in the Dale role. It seems odd.
It's Shao-Kun rings. I swear, you will buy some. I got a room at the Braidwood Inn. That's too much walking.
It's like a mix.
It was.
It's like John Travolta meets Christopher Walken.
What would that sound like? Those aren't pillows.
Have you had any bad hotel room experiences?
Since I feel like all of our hotel room experiences have been bad. Do we have good hotel experiences?
It's really hard to get I feel like, an amazing hotel experience. There's always something.
I stayed at I don't remember what it was, but there was I went to Metropolis, Illinois to see Superman. I wanted to meet Superman. In Metropolis, Illinois, there's a huge Superman museum. They've really embraced the DC Comics connection. There's a gigantic statue of Superman in their city center. There's a video. There's a Serial at Midnight video about Metropolis, Illinois. And I stayed... I'm trying to think. It was the Kentucky side, because it's like shortly over the border of Kentucky. I think you crossed the Ohio River, if I remember correctly. I'm pulling things from a couple of years ago that I haven't thought about since then.
Just give us the general overview. What is it that
There's a hotel. There's a hotel, and the stayed. It was bad. Oh, it was bad. I almost checked into another room. You were out of the country. You were probably in one of those lavish first-class flights you were talking about taking all the time.
Yeah.
No, but like the toilet had been used and not cleaned.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Not great.
Well, I can tell a hotel experience from my Italy trip.
By the way, have you ever stayed in a room that had one of these quarter...
No.
Do those exist in real life?
Maybe they existed before we...
I mean, I stayed in hotels and motels in the 80s.
Yeah,
I don't
but I'm
ever
sure
remember
that
seeing
our
one of
parents
those.
were not taking us to
the
those
Braidwood
kind
Inn?
of hotels.
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the hotels we stayed in, we were in Italy, was...
Look at you. Humble brag.
No, but wait.
Guys, I stayed in this really bad hotel.
The water tasted like
Italy.
salt water. Like they had just pumped it in from the sea.
Oh, my goodness.
It was awful.
Maybe they had.
That was where there was the lizard in my room. Because there was no air conditioner and it was swelteringly hot. So I opened the window and I came back and there was a lizard on the ceiling of my room.
Yeah.
And when I went to close the door behind me to leave the room, the doorknob came off in my hand. So I don't have very high rating. Don't have a very high rating for that.
There could be a movie based on that experience, and it could be called like Gondolas, Bullet Trains, Gondolas, and Ferries. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's Ferries. How do you pluralize?
Yeah, like
this
that.
is not important.
It's not important. We're just chit chatting.
We are. This is the part of the movie. So this is the part of the movie where Steve Martin and John Candy are sharing the bed, and they do not like each other. Steve Martin is like, "You're dirty. You got your stuff all over the counter. You're not sharing. It's just so important to share your space with each other, to be respectful of personal
what's
space."
Funny though is looking at this as Dell being the one he used all the towels, and they were all dirty and on the floor, and you talking about him not sharing, but yet he is the one who is most willing to share through the whole movie. He invited Neil to come with him,
yes,
to share a ride back. he's offering him a pillow. They're sharing a bed. Like, he's more willing to share,
generous.
but yet he's just kind of clueless.
Yeah.
He doesn't attend to the details of like, oh, I used all the towels, so now nobody else has any towels.
So what you're saying is he's a kind-hearted man.
Yes.
He's a generous man.
Right.
He's just completely unself-aware.
He's not aware. Yes.
Yeah.
Not self-aware at all.
John Hughes' house. I think I read that this house is like one town away from the house that Home Alone.
Yeah, I saw that.
Shot him.
I saw that little fun fact as well.
All these Illinois houses look exactly the same to me. I can't tell them apart. But no, that's a fair point. And the movie takes great lengths, I think, to show that he is a nice guy. Mm-hmm. He's I think we all know people like that. And I think that to get more movie specific, I think that we all do know people like that are decent people. We just don't always we just don't always like being around them. Sometimes it can be challenging. And, I think you and I won't put you in this group. I will say for myself, I do identify with Steve Martin in this movie. Because I am, off camera, or, off mic or whatever, I can be very curmudgeonly. I am very... I'm an only child. I'm very specific in the way that I like. That doesn't mean I was spoiled. People think that you're an only child. Oh, you had everything you wanted. No, I was just very used to being in my own company. I was used to silence. I was used to not having to run things by...
I would also say having things your way, but not in like a spoiled way, but just in like you didn't have to share with siblings or... accommodate siblings. It was just...
Never shared a bed with anybody until I was married, How do I share the bed well?
Yeah.
I'm not a bed hog. That's nice to know.
No.
I guess we made it this far. That's
true.
We wouldn't have if I'd been a bed hog. Would have been the end of it. But no, it's just interesting because it's not really that one person is right and one person is wrong. They're just two personality types, and they kind of clash. And I feel like John Hughes does a really good job kind of displaying that it's not necessarily... I don't know, if you're the John Candy type, you can see that Steve Martin is the bad guy. You'd be like, well, he's a jerk. And sometimes he is. And if you're the Steve Martin type, you could be like, wow, John Candy is way over the line in this movie. Like, these behaviors are so inconsiderate. But
looking at it objectively, it's just they're very two different personality types.
Very two different. I like that.
I know, I'm sorry. You know what I'm trying to say.
They are very two different, yes.
They are very different personality types. And... no, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry. They are two different personality types.
They are, and...
but neither one of them
they're
are
just looking at things from different perspective. It doesn't mean one's right or one's wrong, or one's good or one's bad. It just is one of those normal life challenges that we all have.
Growing. Understanding. Community.
Empathy. Thoughtfulness.
This is the part of the movie where he just
traits.
rips poor Dell a new one. He's like, "You're not interesting, and your stories are stupid." Keep in mind, they just met each other at the beginning of this day. It's been a bad day.
Yeah.
It's really Kevin Bacon's fault if we have to.
Yeah, he started the whole thing, didn't he?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Everything 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. This one's pretty close, though. You don't have to go.
This is 1 degree. Yeah. 1 degree of a jerk. Kevin Bacon. Way to go, Kevin Bacon. Oh man, Candy plays it so well. He's does. Like genuinely hurt.
Well, the Steve Martin character Neil. I mean, this is a part where I can't defend his actions. He's pretty hateful and horrible. He has had I can relate to the bad day he's had. I'm sure it's long and he's been long and he's tired and whatever. But he says some pretty terrible things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah.
For those who are wondering about the lizard in the Italian hotel room.
Who's still wondering about that?
He didn't make it.
He didn't make it. No.
Or it. She.
He or she.
It didn't make it.
No.
Had nothing to do
Not
with
on
you.
purpose.
No.
It wasn't on purpose.
Someone came in and tried to eject it, and it went sideways. Much like this trip. Much like John Candy, and much like the Planes, Trains, and Automobiles story, it did not go according to plan. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Italian lizard. May you be drinking
Prosecco.
That sweet Prosecco in the sky. Followed by a cappuccino chaser. So, did you? One of the things that that I've heard about this movie is that it was originally really, really long.
Yes, I saw that as well.
And that allegedly, okay, so Steve Martin says that the script that he read was 145 pages, which is super long for a comedy script, any script, but especially a comedy script.
It says they're normally like, what, 90-ish pages?
Yeah, something like that. And, sometimes I think modern Hollywood blockbuster scripts are like 8 pages long. And it just like explosion.
They really draw it out to like 3 hours.
Fill in with action. That is some, I can't remember what movie I heard that it was just like cool action stuff. They just write like cool action stuff. But yeah, it was, because this is a fairly dialogue and event-heavy movie, kind of a plot-heavy movie. But 145 pages is long. And Steve Martin was like, why is this so long? And allegedly, there is a 3.5-hour cut. Actually, I think it's a 3 hour and 45-minute cut.
I saw that,
it does exist. 4
hours. Yeah.
Like, it was edited together. It exists in some form. So I'm wondering if there's, like Arrow Video and like MVD Entertainment. Some of these companies sometimes can get a hold of older versions of the movie, like The Burbs. I think it was Scream Factory in the U.S. put out Joe Dante's The Burbs with the alternate work print version that's longer. And I'm just wondering, like, could anybody? I don't even know if we'd want to watch it, but just as
I don't think so.
Just as an experiment.
Very long.
I don't know, man. This totally looks like Illinois too. That Braidwood Inn. Hopefully, it's not one of those places that they shot like in California. It looks very Illinois.
They shot all over the place.
They did
for this movie.
Yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
That, like, sometimes Chicago was supposed to look cold and frozen, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
so
there was like a heat wave when they were filming. Like, it should have been cold. It was winter, but it wasn't. They were having a hot flash.
Yeah, they were having hot flashes in Chicago.
So they had to go. They either had to bring in snow, like do fake snow, or they had to go film elsewhere.
I heard they went to Buffalo. Yeah, Buffalo. Yeah. Shout out to the bad boy from Buffalo, Josh Jepkuga, commentator on Batman and They Live. I think he could talk. It's a shame he's not here to be like, oh, it's cold, bro. Oh, bro, it's cold. Because it is. Poor Buffalo.
They've had a lot
it's
of
like the one
snow,
place that's
right?
colder than Chicago is Buffalo. Of course, we're not even talking about Canada, but
the coldest place in the world ever, Buffalo, New York.
Is that a fact?
No, it's not a fact. Okay. I just made that up. That's
I wouldn't
not
be
true.
surprised if you knew that.
That's clearly not true. No, bro, I think the coldest place is somewhere in Siberia.
We just talked over the 2 pillows thing, too.
We did.
Those aren't pillows. Those aren't pillows. That cracked me up so much when I was a kid. It's still funny. It's still really funny. But when I was a kid, oh my goodness, the idea, like, hands wedged between these 2 pillows. Those aren't pillows. It's like, oh my god, because they don't explicitly say either. Like, they don't do, like, I feel like in a movie now they'd be like, it's
over-explain.
They'd over-explain it. But, ew, he's washing his face with it. Ew.
Well, one would ask, why didn't he look before he did that?
Oh, man.
Well, and when did all that happen is the question. When did he go in the bathroom and put all his laundry in the sink?
That's a good question.
We don't know. And in between the person coming in and stealing the money and like...
It was a long night,
tight
man.
Time frame.
It is. We need a reconstruction of the events of that night. At 1:02 a.m., the burglar stole the wallet. At 1:45, John Candy woke up and ate Cracker Jack. At 2:15, it upset his stomach and he had to go to the bathroom, at which point he decided to lay out his laundry, put his socks in the... How about the days of, like, being able to smoke in a diner? They got beer behind the counter.
Are you like...
Am I pining for
the days you could smoke inside?
I just miss being able to sit at a table and smoke a stogie for an hour while drinking Miller Lite over some ham and eggs. What's the problem with that?
Yeah, all the times you've done that.
What's the deal with PC? All the times, exactly right. What? They got like a stuffed bobcat back there. I don't know. I'd eat at this place. This place looks pretty cool.
But you like diners.
I do like diners. We've done the whole Route 66 thing. We drove from Chicago, so we've spent significant time in Chicago, all the way to the Santa Monica Pier in Los Angeles. And we ate at a lot of diners that were
For sure.
a lot like this.
Yeah.
But no one was smoking. I don't think you can smoke pretty much anywhere Actually, that's not true. You remember that place that we stopped at it was in New Mexico. I don't remember. I think it was Albuquerque. I think it was in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And there was a diner that we stopped at, and they had a smoking section. And we had breakfast there. They had a breakfast burrito. I still remember this detail. I had a breakfast burrito, and there was a smoking section. And those people were world weary, man. They'd seen it all. It's just like, what are you having?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No.
That whole trip was kind of a blur because we did it so
I mean, I do remember
fast.
a lot of the trip, but I don't remember that specifically.
Like, I would stay at the Braidwood Inn. It doesn't look great, but it does have a lot of character.
By yourself.
Yeah. You're like, I'll be up the street at the Holiday Inn Express. at the Doubletree, where they put a cookie in your room.
A mint on your pillow.
Mint on pillow.
I gotta say, though, that the older I get, the less willing I feel to stay in places like that.
That's true.
Because I'm like, I do not have to put up with that.
But look at this place.
It does look like it has a lot of character. I don't think it exists
anymore.
Looks like maybe its character is not all that great. It has a lot of character, but is it all great?
That's true. These people.
Good character points.
This guy that's about to get out of the vehicle cracks me up every time. The way I'm going to wait for it. And then I'm going to go look and see if the Braidwood Inn still exists. I bet it's been torn down. All right, here we go. This guy with his loogie hawking, whatever you want to call it. Hawking. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Nasty. He honestly looks so familiar, like the kind of people we would see around our parts.
I think we know who that is. I'm trying to figure out who that actor is. Well, here we go. Dylan Baker. He's in Trick or Treat. That's what it is.
Okay.
He's just like... All right, Vamp Forest. I'm going to look for the Braidwood... There.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my goodness. I'm looking for the Braidwood Inn. There it is again.
I know. It's like, wow.
Yeah, he exists around. I think every town has one of him.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Everywhere.
Oh, dude, it still exists. As we're recording this commentary, the Amazon Prime guy just walked up to the front porch and left something.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop this and go check on what package we just got.
BRB.
So the Braidwood Inn, let's see, it is now the Sun Motel. It does still exist. It's open 24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. It's in Braidwood, Illinois. Hickory Street, 140 South Hickory Street, Braidwood, Illinois. Shout out to the Braidwood Inn. Now, the Sun Motel. They do not have Wi-Fi. But they are wheelchair accessible. They are $1 sign on the $4 sign scale. Mm-hmm. Let's see. There's a little description about it. It was not filmed in Wichita. It was filmed in Braidwood, Illinois. Well, there's not a lot of information.
Yeah, I think it sounds like you've covered it.
Yeah, that's the in and out on the Braidwood Inn.
Yeah.
They don't have Wi-Fi, but
said.
They have between 1 and 50 rooms.
Between 1 and 50. All right.
Check out. Is at noon, guys?
They serve breakfast?
No, absolutely not.
No breakfast, no Wi-Fi.
But they do have free parking, in case you were wondering.
Do you pine for the days when you could just ride in the back of a pickup truck?
You know what? I actually do.
Yeah.
I understand it's not safe, but I don't know. It's a different world now.
Yeah.
Like, we are in the South. We grew up in a time when, like, hop in the back, boys. Well, you're not a boy, but you know what I'm saying. Like, hop in the back. We're going to ride up to the grocery store and get some some charcoal for the grill or something like that, and you just hop in the back.
Yeah.
Nobody was
so many people in there too.
Yes,
you had a lot of people. It was easy.
And it feels like now these may be rose-colored glasses, but I don't remember anybody doing like 60 in a 40 or anything like that. I don't remember. I just don't feel like the traffic then is what it was now.
Well, we never took them. When we did that, we never went out on the highway or anything. It was always just like through the neighborhood or wherever. Didn't get on the interstate.
Yeah.
But now it does seem like traffic goes much faster and is much more dangerous than back then.
Mm-hmm. Because we're probably also talking about like maybe smaller country roads and stuff. Like, I mean, I know where you grew up. You know where I grew up.
Yeah.
They're not big towns.
No, definitely not.
Of course, your town where you grew up is pretty hustle and bustle now. There's a whole lot of people there now.
Yeah.
What if this icicle fell off and impaled somebody through it? Like, what if you were...
How would it go through the train?
Well, okay, what if you were outside the train getting some fresh air? And look at Family Ties on the cover of Us. Sha-na-na-na. That could happen, though. Icicle through the head.
Well, yeah, icicles are dangerous, but I don't think there's anywhere to stand outside on the train because that would be equally as dangerous.
I mean, that's a fair point.
Okay.
Are these the scenes that had... So Jerry Ryan was in this movie and got cut. Jerry Ryan, Star Trek Deep Space Nine. No. Hold on. Jerry Ryan from Star Trek. I'll just say that.
That sums it up.
That sums it up. She's allegedly in a... I think it was a train scene. You know what? It might have been the bus scene.
Bus sounds familiar.
It's Voyager. It was not Deep Space Nine. It was Voyager. I don't know what I'm thinking. Did you read that no transportation company wanted to be associated with this movie because it was all negative experiences? So they had to, like for this, they had to like basically create. They had to take trains that no longer existed or that were not in service anymore and that weren't owned by anybody. They had to take. They built the airport set. I just thought that was really interesting because it's like this movie sounds like kind of a disaster behind the scenes. It sounds
like a lot happened that they weren't expecting.
Yeah.
Like having to do that. And
like you go to Chicago thinking it's going to be winter, cold, snowy and cold, and it's like unseasonably warm and thawed. So you have to go to Buffalo and then you go to Wichita and you can't find the location. So they end up shooting things in California. There's like highway scenes that were shot in California. But I was like, wow, they had to create... Like, they had to take trains out of a defunct train yard and, like, contract. I'm guessing there's no such thing as contract. No, they had to create that.
Yeah, that's a combination of two railroat company names. Or travel companies.
Amtrak, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah,
What's
and
Con?
I can't remember.
Okay.
Because I don't... Conway?
That's cool.
Something, I don't know.
Here's another guy just smoking a stogie out and about. He's got mice on his knee. As one does.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness. I've never noticed that before.
Let's see. St. Louis, 3 p.m. Chicago delayed. The buses. None of the buses exist in real life. I mean, the buses are real. They're not CGI buses. But... He's just throwing his shells on the floor. He's eating peanuts. Like he's at one of those...
He's at Logan's.
Steakhouse. Yeah, like he's at Logan's Steakhouse. Do they do that at Logan's anymore?
I don't know. I thought so.
I feel like someone probably fell and hurt themselves and sued, and now you can't do that anywhere.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't heard that. We haven't been to Logan's in ages.
No, we haven't.
I will say that Logan's came up as a topic of discussion in one of my classes, and one of the kids was like, that place is a safety hazard. So...
That's funny. I'm just going to say this experience on the bus, 8th grade trip to Disney World, I think it was. My school went to...
Your 8th grade trip.
My 8th grade trip, Disney World. This was happening on our bus. There were these, like, somebody almost got pregnant on that trip. Not in real... I'm exaggerating, but there was, like, some heavy hanky-panky going on this bus. And everybody's just like, oh, my gosh. And I remember the names of the people involved, but I will not mention them.
Where were the teachers?
That's a good question. How did this happen?
They were probably all on the other bus. Put students on one bus and themselves on the other. Just like, thank goodness.
Probably so. Because I just remember that, like, they were Frenching and, like, heavy petting in the back of this bus. private school, private Christian school bus. Of course, those are the most rebellious kids of all. But I met that guy, the boy at the time. I met him again like 10 years ago. So in our 30s, early 30s, I guess. And I remembered it, and he remembered it, and he was like, I think I made him uncomfortable talking about it. I was like, "What? Do you remember?" He was like, "Oh, yeah." Just like, wow. Mm. So every time I see this scene, 8th grade trip to Disney World.
Mm-hmm. So I read that oh my gosh, I'm having a moment I can't remember.
Are you having a senior moment?
I am. John Candy.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That the Flintstones was one of his favorite cartoons. Mm-hmm. So, all that.
I take that with a grain of salt.
Tidbit. Well, even if it's not true, why can't we just pretend and be like, "Oh, that's really nice."
That is really nice. He chose well. Hanna-Barbera. Hanna-Barbera. So the shower curtain rings, getting plot use. Galaga!
And payphones, what are those?
And Centipede. Yeah, that's interesting, right? We live in a payphone-free world. I mean, you still see a payphone sometimes. I think you still see payphones occasionally.
Occasionally, but I don't think any of them work.
That's true. Look at this kid's hair, third from the left.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the reasons that payphones don't exist, because it's just like breeding grounds for Hep C.
I don't think that's why they don't exist.
No.
But yeah.
It makes you look older too.
Makes you look older.
Yeah, he was telling the earrings make them look old. The shower curtain earrings make them look older. Let's see if anybody's smoking. Oh, yep, cigar. Right behind John Candy. Oh, guys, those were the days. Just waxing. Waxing nostalgic for the days of open smoking in restaurants.
Don't include me on that.
No, I'm not really. It's interesting to see, though, because we've come so far.
That's true. But, you and I spent so many years going to a restaurant and having to specify smoking or not smoking. Uh-huh. And sometimes even now when I go to a restaurant, it's almost like second nature. Like I expect them to ask like how many and then smoking or non-smoking. I'm like, that's not going to happen because there is no smoking.
Do you remember after the chains first happened and you'd still say like non-smoking even though they'd be like there is no smoking?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it was a few years. I worked as a host at several restaurants. Shout out to Ruby Tuesday. Used to work at Ruby Tuesday. Started as a host, and I remember those days. People would be like, "I'd like no smoking," but like there is no smoking, so that's what you're gonna get.
That's the whole restaurant.
You sit your butt down in the seat.
Sit down and be quiet.
Is that how you treated the guests?
No, he's smoking. Yes. Like the bus driver from South Park.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want an office referral? What?
This is the heartbreaking scene where
they split up.
This is the scene where Steve Martin is like, "I'm done with you. Get out of here. But I'm going to be nice about it. I'm going to make my own way. I don't do duos." He's getting sucked into the movie now.
I know. Watching them fight over who gets what and...
Don't go.
Come back. Come back. No.
The kid from The Christmas Story.
Mm-hmm. Come back, come back. Okay.
With his tongue stuck to the pole.
It's a nice bus.
It's a nice
purple?
bus. Yeah.
P-I-M-P. It's the kind of bus that Samuel L. Jackson would drive if he had a bus.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we, St. Louis? But we don't know where we are in real life.
No, I guess he is supposed to be in St. Louis, right?
Santa Louis. Saint Louis. 3 hours later. All these experiences are just so like I think I've never been left in a rental car parking lot, but we've all had this experience of like, this is not right, and there's no one to get to tell them that this is not right. Oh my gosh, this is a nightmare. It is.
I like how you're talking about it as if you've never seen the movie before.
Well, I'm just
like, gosh.
Thinking about it and putting myself... It's just empathy, Bree. You should look into it. You should try it sometime.
I'll work on it. I'm sorry. I'm so
of all the people I know who just don't think about others, you haven't chosen that as your career, and... Jeez.
I know.
Miss First Class over here.
So true.
Oh, man. There's walking on the side of the highway. This is about the way he's got to get down.
I feel like I can really relate to that. I don't necessarily, I can't think of a specific experience, but just knowing that there's so many parts around our town and many other places in the U.S. that are just not walkable.
Yeah.
Like if you need to walk somewhere, good luck. You're going to get run over by a car.
Do you remember? This is Chris Farley. You remember when we went to Atlanta and we walked to the diner? It wasn't a diner, it was a restaurant, but we walked like, I don't know, it was like a 10-minute walk on the highway. I don't think we should have done that. We should have gotten an Uber. In retrospect, we should have gotten an Uber.
Right. Yeah.
But when was that? That was a few years ago. I think that was another trip that you were taking. But, the scene. This is the scene with... Oh, hold on. I don't know the actress's name. She's Grace in Ferris Bueller. But that doesn't help us here.
It's not her real name.
No. Hold on. But this was improvised.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I read that she was improvising, discussing Thanksgiving dinner or whatever. Thanksgiving plans.
Edie McClurg. Mm-hmm. And this is what makes the movie rated R. Mm-hmm. That I think is an interesting choice.
Well, I think we can all relate to him. He's been through a lot. He's been through a lot, right?
Yeah. Maybe. I mean, maybe. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know why he's so upset. Just roll with it.
It's just tough, right? Because he's so rude.
Yeah.
And she didn't do anything.
Right.
Don't be silent. We have to say something.
Well, we're both engrossed in this part of the movie.
18 F words in 60 seconds. Yeah. I also read from the questionable IMDb trivia that it was this scene this was one of two things that convinced Steve Martin that he wanted to do the movie.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Whether that's true or not, I don't know.
It's just fun to throw those facts in anyway. Or I mean,
quotes, facts.
Yeah.
And then the little Midwestern lady drops the F-bomb herself.
Yeah. Well, I read that she still has people ask her to say that to them. So I think that's funny.
Which, of course, you would, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to take all this stuff that we read on the internet with a grain of salt, but it is fun to speculate about.
Totally.
This guy, he clearly has not put his hat in the dryer.
Definitely not.
It fits on his head.
He dry cleans his.
Yeah, that's probably the way to go. Good move.
That story.
If I wanted a joke, I'd follow you into the John and watch you take a leak. If I wanted a joke, I'd follow you into the John and watch you take a leak. Dang, man. Dang.
Well, did that make your stomach turn again?
Yeah, because that's a real stunt person on the ground about to get hit by a car. That was close, man. This is some Australian level stunt work right there. It's crazy Australians, man. Just driving motorcycles off cliffs. guy's like, well played. Oh my gosh. It's a pretty sweet car, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of just being unique.
It's a very interesting car.
It's not a great car.
It's interesting.
I miss wood paneling.
Yeah, you don't find that anymore at all.
None.
And it's hard. You don't ever see vehicles with wood paneling either.
Yeah. Like with HHRs, they make stickers
that look like wood paneling?
Like wood paneling.
All right.
He's just laughing at his face. Because the pain is real. It's such an intense, long-lasting pain. I feel sorry for him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they make stickers that make it look like wood paneling, but it's a sticker.
Right.
I miss. You can now. There are custom shops. You can if I was like, I'm gonna trick out my car. You could get I guess real wood paneling put on, but nothing comes. I don't think anything comes factory wood paneled anymore.
No, I don't think so.
Which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's just our age, right? Like we grew up in the days when every family movie had a station wagon,
a wood
paneled station wagon. Oh man.
Like again, we're engrossed.
I know, let's just watch the movie. It's just
yeah. Lots of silence.
Yeah,
we're just really, really into the scene of the movie.
This movie reminds me, I don't think it's an accident, Tommy Boy, David Spade and Chris Farley. I don't know that Tommy Boy acknowledges the influence. I think he kind of just did it, but it's very similar. It's a road trip movie. Thin, straight guy, fat, comedic guy. Lots of pathos, people getting their feelings hurt, that sort of a thing. Everything that can go wrong with the car does. Mm-hmm. In fact, when I was younger, I would get the two movies confused.
Oh, really?
I really would. There'd be bits that I thought were in Tommy Boy that are actually from this, and vice versa, as they say, as the kids say.
These guys argue a lot.
Why can't they just get along? It's like the level of movie criticism that we have now, where people are just like, I mean, they argue constantly. Why do they have to argue constantly? They just like why does this have to be the premise of the movie? Not realizing, not understanding that is why we're watching the movie.
Right,
and if you don't have that premise, there is no movie. It's an exercise for character and plot. And people be like, well, why didn't he... okay, so at the beginning of the movie, the wife is watching TV, and it says that it looks like Chicago's clearing.
Right.
And if they'd stayed, none of this would have happened. So, there's that level of criticism that's like, I mean, why didn't they just stay? The movie's so stupid. Why didn't they just stay in Chicago? It's like, because then we would not have had this journey.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the journey.
Conrail and Amtrak.
Okay.
That's what it was.
Yeah. Those are the two travel companies whose names were combined to make what? Comtract?
Yeah.
Okay.
C-O-N, Contract.
Oh, Contract.
Not to be confused with 321 Contact from when we were kids on PBS.
Signing a contract.
Yeah, yes. That's better. Let's stop this and start over. I feel like I can do better with that one.
Okay. Start the entire movie over.
Allegedly, these driving scenes, and I say allegedly because, again, who knows for sure, but that they were filmed on an unopened highway in between Buffalo, New York, and Springville, New York. So we should reach out to our friend and your friend, Joshua Jepkuga, and see if he would drive some of this road. I think it's US 219. And just do a road trip filming session for us. And he could... This is what I need to fly out to Buffalo, and then he and I can recreate this scene. And I guess I'd be the fat guy. I'll play with a seat. Playing the keys. Do you ever miss John Candy?
Yeah.
Do you ever think to yourself, like, what would he be doing now?
No, I don't think that.
No. But when you're watching a John Candy movie, you're like, oh.
Yeah.
It's hard not to... What am I trying to say?
I think there's just people that you feel like they're gone too soon.
Yeah.
He's one of them. Chris Farley.
Yeah. Belushi.
Yeah.
Like, what would they be doing now? What else would they have done?
Yeah.
Would John Candy have won an Oscar for something? Would he have done, like,
Should have won one for Uncle Buck.
Well played. But, like, so many of these comedy actors end up doing serious things and, like, directing, or they do, like, would John Candy have played a serial killer in a movie? I don't know. But it's just tough. It's tough to go back and watch some of these things and not just miss them.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I've had this happen before. Not to the degree that it happens in this movie, but I've gotten things caught while driving. Just like, uh-oh.
I bet that's happened to a lot of people. This is very stressful.
One time I dropped a popsicle down in the crack of my seat, and I never did get it. Ever. It was just too tight.
Like an actual popsicle?
Yeah.
I guess it melted, huh?
Yeah.
And then it was just the stick.
Yep. It was not it wasn't like I unwrapped it and immediately dropped it, but it was like the remnants of a popsicle as I was finishing it up.
Oh, okay.
And it slid. I know, this was like 20 years ago. I don't remember all the... I just remember, like, I had it. I think it was in my Mitsubishi Mirage. 1995 Mitsubishi Mirage. Standard stick shift.
Do you remember...
That's right. I drive
when
stick.
we watched this with Mini Midnight?
Yes.
Like, all this car stuff, she laughed
so hard.
Yeah. She'd be like, oh, no. It would just laugh.
Some of the movie, she was in it for the movie. She's like, but this car stuff, it was SpongeBob or something. Like, it was just the funniest thing in the world to her, especially later in the movie when they go between the two trucks.
Yes.
And they do a little...
That was hilarious.
They do a little magic realism.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it is pretty funny.
It is.
I'll say that about this movie. It's pretty funny. It's my review. Put that.
It's your review.
Put that on the re-release poster. It's pretty funny. Cereal at Midnight. It's pretty funny.
Uh-huh.
It's like J.J. Abrams. It was a really funny movie, and there's a lot of people worked really hard. And it was John Candy driving his jacket caught. So funny. He talks like he's like stuttered, like staggered, like nothing, and then like a bunch all at one time.
Kind of reminiscent of Jeff Goldblum.
I don't do a Goldblum.
No, I'm not asking you to. I'm just saying, like, how he'll...
Do you do a Goldblum?
I do not. But he'll, like, stutter around a lot and make a lot of noise, like,
And
then he'll finally come out with whatever it is he wants to say.
The magic of planes, trains, and automobiles is... that it's just wonderful. Here's the... 2 trucks... Clearly not Steve Martin in the passenger seat there. It's like some guy with longer hair.
We're not supposed to know that.
(1987) road rage.
Uh-huh.
Getting sucked in again.
I know.
I mean, it's one of the best bits of the movie.
It is.
As the back seat's about to catch on fire. He says we're going the wrong way.
Have you ever seen anybody going the wrong way on the interstate?
Yes.
Or...
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying.
It's very distressing.
In fact, it wasn't that long ago. I was coming home from one of my out-of-town gigs. And this guy was driving up the exit ramp as I was trying to get off. I think it was one of those things where he got off and he was like, "This isn't where I want to go." So he just decided
to get back on.
Yeah, so he just backed up the exit. I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that I've ever seen anybody explicitly just driving down the interstate the wrong way.
Right. I haven't the interstate.
A cop. I've seen a cop do that.
I have in a parking lot. I saw an elderly woman.
Here we go.
Uh-huh.
This is the part that just completely broke Mini Midnight.
Definitely, yeah.
She just like laughed so hard she peed all over the place. That did not
true.
Happen. That's not true. Don't you put that evil on her, Ricky Bobby. this bit with she thought this was hilarious, as it is.
Uh-huh.
Don't we see the steering wheel?
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. What were you saying?
I don't know. That I saw someone. It was an elderly woman driving down the wrong side of the road in a parking. Not a parking lot. Well, yeah, sort of, but it was gosh. It was a road, but that was going around a parking lot.
Now, I do see a lot, like, you know how sometimes you'll leave a parking lot and they'll have, like, the separated entrance roads, the one way in and the one way out. Yeah. People do, like, see old people all the time get those wrong.
You've done that. Mm-mm. Yes, you have. I was following you.
When?
Well, we can be more.
Do you remember specifically?
Later. I do, but I'm not going to share over the thing. It was really dark. I'll give you that. It was hard to see. It was hard to see.
When was it?
It was when we were leaving one of Mini Midnight's volleyball games when she played for the Y, and we had stopped to get food or something. Uh-oh. And we were in a parking lot, and you were leaving, and you drove down. Like, there was the one way in and one way out, and the little median in between. Yeah. And you went the wrong way.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
What was it? Do you remember?
What do you mean, what was it?
What restaurant was it? Now I want specifics.
Remember.
I want the address. We'll just blast it to everybody, and they can go relive the experience. This was where Cereal at Midnight went down the wrong way.
Clearly we made it, and it was dark, so I can give you that.
Has this been addressed until before now?
Yeah, we talked about it.
Oh, okay. I've just forgotten it.
Yeah,
because I'm perfect. I don't do.
That's right.
Like that.
Correct.
I don't make mistakes. That's not true. I don't think that's true. I recognize myself. It's just funny that I was like some elderly people do that, and you're like, you did that.
You did that. Oh.
Oh, my goodness.
It's just one thing after another with these guys, isn't it?
I mean, it's just like so many plot contrivances. Why didn't they just stay in Chicago and wait? And then none of this would have happened.
You know what, though? People say that, but I think that in real life, it's really not uncommon for, like, if a flight's canceled or people think they're snowed in or they can't get home or whatever, that they're like, well, I'll just rent a car and drive. Or
absolutely
whatever, because they think that will... They just want to feel like they're moving, and they think that will get them there faster instead of just actually waiting it out.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like even though the things that happen to them are really like a little far-fetched and maybe would not really happen in real life, it is the story is relatable.
Mm-hmm. I think each one of these things is plausible by itself, but when you add them all up together,
right.
It's
and
like,
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And none of this is, like, so far out of the realm of possibility.
Right. Well, except for driving between the two trucks.
Yes. That's true. Touche. Maybe hitchhiking in the back of a... Well, I was going to say the way... They didn't hitchhike, but they called that ride, and he come...
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done that, but...
No, some people might, though.
Yeah.
You know what I wondered about that scene was when... They were already in the back of the truck, and there's all the hay back there. And Steve Martin's character, Neil, went to reach for his gloves, and a dog popped out. And I'm like, how did they not... And they were, like, surprised to see a dog pop out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how could you get in the back of the truck like that and not know there was a dog underneath all the hay? I don't know.
It's a plot hole.
Yeah, but that's okay. You know what? People point stuff out like that all the time, and it's fine, and it's
just
true.
For the premise.
It's true, but then, I mean, it's a joke, clearly.
Yeah.
It's meant to be, like, ridiculous and funny.
This is exactly right. We don't watch the Three Stooges and go like, no, that couldn't happen. It's not really the point. But I think, you know, part of what, like, our generation, it's not our generation, it's the generation after us, is very obsessed with, like, this is not
realism.
practical, real. Yeah. They seem to have a very hard time just letting a premise run.
That is for sure.
Do you see that in your students?
Oh my gosh, yes. We watched Coco not long ago, and in certain classes, kids would really point out, like, why didn't they just do this? Or why is this happening? And I had to keep reminding, I'm like, this is an animated movie. And if this didn't happen, the plot could not move forward. It's very interesting to see. And they talk about that with all the movies that they watch. They really want it to feel like a very realistic, plausible story. They don't want to be able to point out something and be like, well, that couldn't happen. It's kind of frustrating for people our age because we don't feel that way.
Now, why do you think that is? It's got to be something. Ooh, look at that sign. You know I'm a sucker for a neon sign.
For sure.
We have driven... Dude, we have gone on road trips for neon signs. Legitimately.
Which neon sign did we go for a road trip?
Well, we went to Chicago basically to eat at Superdog and to look at Route 66 signs.
That's true.
That was not our Route 66 trip. That was a separate trip. We went. We're like, hey, let's go on a road trip. Let's go up to Superdog in Chicago.
Yeah.
Which was like an 11-hour drive.
To eat a Chicago dog.
To eat Chicago dog. I mean, we got to see some friends while we were there too. It wasn't just... Like we have people in Chicago, but we did do that, and it was essentially just for funsies.
Yeah, that's true.
And then we looked at like on the way back, we went to. I'm trying to think. Was that the trip? I'm trying to think if that's the trip where we also we came home through St. Louis and then back south.
I think so.
I think that's what we did.
Yeah.
We drove all of Illinois, Route 60. So we've done that twice now, all of Route 66, Illinois. The Gemini Giant on those back roads, all the way through Joliet, I believe is. But anyway, there were some signs. I know there was one sign that was in question of being taken down. And there was a drive-in that had closed like a week prior to us driving through there. And we wanted to see that too before it was gone.
Yeah.
We do things like that sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. Did you see the article I sent you about the Route 66 and the Painted Desert?
I haven't read it yet. I saw you sent it, but I was at work and I haven't looked at it yet.
It was interesting. They were talking about, like, as we've been talking about nostalgia and the way things used to be, how, like, in the 20s and 30s, 40s, people would drive through that area and just throw their trash out the window. Like, it wasn't uncommon to just throw...
I still see that.
Well, I still see that too, but people are more aware of it now, and, like, it's not socially acceptable to just throw your trash out the window. But then it was.
Yeah.
So there are all this, like, petrified trash in the petrified fort. Like,
really?
There are places where you can see where people drove through and where there's just all this trash on the side of where the road would have been. And they won't clean it up because they say it's a look at our history, and so it's just there.
Wow.
And you can go see. So
I gotta read that.
Yeah.
I think it's still in my inbox. I'll shout it out just in case people want to read it, if they want to tag along and read that in their own
on their own, in their own time.
Well, now I can't find it.
It was from Atlas Obscura.
Oh, okay. Okay. So Atlas Obscura is a book that comes out. Well, it's in its second edition now. But they highlight just interesting and unique places
everywhere, all around the world,
worldwide. Yeah. I feel like this lady does not have much to do, and I feel kind of bad for her. Like
she spends most of the movie in the bed.
Yeah, she has like 2 minutes of screen time, and she looks really sad in all of them.
Well, I guess that's not true. She's always in the bed. She went to the kids' play, and they had dinner.
Yeah,
they're eating dinner. But still, you're right. She doesn't have too much to do.
But going back to the acceptability of a premise, do you think that maybe it's because this is also really sad, by the way. I should say that.
Yeah.
We're getting it's starting to make sense now to us that Marie may not be with us anymore.
Right. Yeah. Maybe never mind.
What? Okay. Is it something you want to say for later? Or
no, I just don't want to say it.
Oh, okay.
It's okay.
Bree was going to go blue. She's going to drop the F-bomb.
I was not.
18 times in 60 seconds.
I do that all the time. That's nothing new.
Totally. Yeah. While you smoke your cigars and drink Miller Lite in the diners.
Yes.
Do you think it's because there's no real, like, the cartoons still exist, but it's not the kind of cartoons, there's no classic cartoons. There's no Hanna-Barbera stuff these days. There's no, kids that grow up today, I'm going to try very hard not to be like, well, in my day.
The old guy shaking his stick at people.
Yeah. What's the Simpsons joke? Old man yells at cloud or something like that. But SpongeBob is not the Flintstones or Huckleberry Hound or something like that. I feel like attention spans are at an all-time low, and ability to invest in an idea seems, I don't know, there's just a lot of overanalyzing of things. And I say over, I guess that's debatable, but for me, I feel like it's overanalyzing things. Like there seems to be a whole lot of people who can't just go with it. They have to I just wanted to, is it social media? Is it that wanting to be the smartest guy in the room, be the first person to call something out so that you have this, quote, credibility? I don't know. What do you think it is?
I don't know.
Because you're seeing it from children is what you're saying.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
They're not on Twitter.
No. But it is interesting. Like, they do like SpongeBob, and SpongeBob is totally not realistic. No. Even though it's a cartoon. You wouldn't expect it to be, but it's very, for sure.
Like the box, the power of the box when they get in the box. And
so clearly that's not a plausible concept, and they're willing to accept that. I think their problem comes when it's supposed to be presented as a story that could happen, and then suddenly there's, some surrealist element or magic realism thrown in, and they're like, that couldn't happen in this story. It's like they have a hard time just continuing to go with the premise and be like, okay, well, yeah.
Wasn't that one of the backlashes against The Last Jedi? Is like there's a fuel concern and they're being pursued. It's also from a Battlestar Galactica episode, but I remember a lot of people being like, well, if they're so worried about fuel, then blah, blah. Like, we're analyzing things very realistic, like based on real world. We're applying real world logic to things that I think are really just meant to convey a premise that we can then have fun with. But I don't know. Interesting conversation.
Definitely something we can think more about and try to
And what do you think, listening to this at home? Why do you think that...
Take a moment to reflect.
Do mini bars still exist in hotels like this, in the motels and stuff?
I think so.
Okay.
I think mini bars are definitely still a thing.
Man, they've been busy.
Not everywhere, but...
Look at all those empties.
I know.
It's like 4 Jack Daniels empties. 5. I see 5.
Look at all the chip bags.
Well, that's dinner, man.
45 bags of chips for dinner.
They're going to feel so bad in the morning. Maybe they went to a liquor store. Because they've got like a little tray. Like, it's got like a carton.
Yeah, I don't know.
Those things are still cheap, too. You get a single for like 99 cents.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know how I would know that.
Well, I haven't bought little teeny tiny liquor bottles in a very long time.
You mean ever?
That's true. Thank you for correcting me. Ever. I never have, so I don't think I know how much they cost.
Definitely not to smuggle into your luggage at an airport so that you can get trashed on an airplane.
Oh my gosh, I really honestly could not imagine drinking like that on a flight. Like, that would be a terrible feeling. I mean, flying can already make you feel kind of nauseated and just like, ugh. But adding drinks to that would just be terrible.
People do it.
I know people. I mean, for me, I'm talking about for me personally.
Yeah, I wasn't calling you out. I was just saying it's amazing that people do it.
Yeah, they do.
I couldn't do it either. It's the last thing I want.
I have to be feeling my best before I get on a flight. Like,
top form.
Seriously.
I wonder what this place is and if it still exists.
I don't know.
I don't know that I have a location for this. Dear IMDb.
Where?
Go to the filming locations and see.
I think this car was the model they used to create that Tesla truck.
Look at you with a topical joke. Elon Musk and the Tesla
I really
truck.
like the shape of that car. It could totally be a truck if we put a top on it.
What do you think about that thing?
I think it's so weird. It's very. I mean, look,
This place
it's just
does
because they
exist.
called it a truck and it doesn't necessarily look like a truck. It looks very like space age and science fiction. So I don't really know. My initial reaction is that's kind of weird looking, but in 10 years that might be the normal, and we're like, oh, that's just a normal looking truck. I don't know. It's possible. But it really does look like something out of a science fiction movie, don't you think?
It does. Yeah. It looks like something out of Mad Max, I think he's really copying the DeLorean, but in a truck.
It does look like a DeLorean. Yeah, a DeLorean truck.
Like, how many times have you watched Back to the Future, Mr. Musk? Mr. Musk. Mr. Anderson. Sorry. Just let people know that's what it's like living with me all the time. Just like songs and bits just bleeding from one into the other.
Yeah.
We were in Target yesterday and you're like, how do you always have a song in your head?
I asked you, how do you have so many songs going through your head? It was like we went from one to another to another. It was a lot of songs.
So that was the El Rancho Motel.
Okay.
It is still there.
In Illinois?
In Illinois. Yeah, it's in Illinois. They have a Facebook page. It's in Gurnee, Illinois. Hold up. Oh, there's a Roadside America entry. There's Michael McKean. I believe he got 4th billing. I think we read that he got 4th billing, but he only has like 90 seconds of screen time or something like that.
Yeah.
Of course, David St. Hubbins, I think is...
Well, and I read that it was pointed out that this is a Wisconsin state trooper pulling them over. Is that right? And that if they're going from St. Louis to Chicago, Wisconsin would be a bit out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like the hotel is gone. Roadside America in 2016 said the motel was looking unappealingly seedy by late 2016. Its phone number had been disconnected, which pretty much guarantees that the previous business is shuttered, but it might still be worth a drive-by photo. And here's a fellow that has gotten a drive-by photo. So that's real. The bull on the front of the building, it's still there. And it says that it features in planes, trains, and automobiles. Remember, those aren't pillows. That's from Roadside America, which I love. Whenever we go on a road trip, Roadside America is...
it's like your go-to for finding interesting places.
There's an app.
There is an app.
There's an app for that.
Uh-huh. But this is not the place that the pillows thing happened.
No, that's not.
Okay.
They just wanted to say it.
Okay.
They just wanted to be...
Wanted to reference that.
Wanted to be cheeky.
Yeah.
All right. Wrapping it up. Don't go. Guys, don't go.
I like that hat.
It's a pretty sweet hat.
Buffalo plaid hat.
No showings today. Happy Thanksgiving. Now, that movie theater would be showing movies all day long.
Jam-packed.
And everybody would be leaving to go to Target.
Or Best Buy.
Or Best Buy. If it's
or
not
Walmart.
if it's not in this town, they'd be going one town over, or whatever the nearest city is.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart. Walmart is, of course, in this town. Surely there's a Walmart.
There's a Walmart everywhere.
Yeah. Putting the working man out of business. Heath got political. Ashkenhagen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ashkenhagen cheese. That was bad. We've never been, all our trips to Chicago and Illinois, we've never gone over to Wisconsin.
No, we haven't.
We've talked about it, but we never have.
That's where my uncle is from.
That's true.
Kenosha.
The Kenosha Kickers.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, it's Ashkenhagen.
Well, and I love listening to my uncle talk because he's lived down here so long in the South that he uses expressions that are Southern, but still with his Wisconsin.
Like what? Like maybe a bless your heart or something like that?
Yeah, or a y'all. He says y'all and...
That looks like a matte painting to me. It ain't go to Chicago. Guys, don't separate. Don't go. No. Bless your heart there. I know he likes Alabama football.
Yes,
He's
he
like,
does.
roll tide, roll.
Yeah.
Roll tide, roll.
I mean, it's not quite that strong, but
Roll, tide, roll.
they don't have a little SpongeBob in it, I feel like, or
did,
something.
Gabby.
That's SpongeBob. I tell you what, that guy is just too much. Bless his heart. Bless his cotton-picking little heart. You know, cotton picking is a thing that is totally a Southerner expression, but I feel like it's been scaled back probably for political correctness. But the cotton picking of the South was everybody picked cotton. Johnny Cash picked cotton. That was just a thing.
I think it was a
like
derogatory expression just for Southern.
You think so?
In general, yeah. I read about it.
Oh, okay. Because I know
there's no like clear, no clear background as to where it officially came from, but it speculated that it's just a negative expression for just all Southern people.
Oh, well, I'm not on board with that.
Well, then quit using it.
Well, I'm not using it. Oh, man. John Candy feels how I feel inside now. Steve Martin is just like, no. Where's he going to go? I guess we don't know where he lives, right? Like, is he...
No, I don't think so.
We never see... Like, is he homeless? I don't think he's homeless, but I don't think he has... I think that's the point, is that he doesn't have a support system anymore.
Right. I was going to say, if home is really where your family is or your friends, then he really doesn't have a place he calls home. Right?
Yeah. He lives on the road. Now,
should we talk about this
go for
scene?
It.
Or,
this lady gets 5 more seconds of screen time. I'm sorry, 2 seconds of screen time.
Well, that Steve Martin didn't know they were filming him. That this is footage they filmed of him just thinking on the train, thinking about his upcoming lines or whatever. And he didn't know they were filming, but they ended up using it because they changed the ending, their original ending, and determined that this would be a good fit.
Can I tell you, I don't know that I believe that.
I don't know that I do either, but
it's very like maybe that right there.
To share.
I think maybe some of it, but some of it does seem like a performance. Mm-hmm. It's just Heath versus IMDb. Mm-hmm. It does seem to be a choice. A choice. And that's his Kaiser Soze moment. It's the coffee cup falls to the floor and shatters. And he just hears the narration of shower curtain rings. all over. Ashkenagin. Noggin. You don't have anywhere to go, do you? You son of a... You lied to me. Now, did we take him literally?
Like he's homeless? Or...
I mean, I think he does live on the road, but do we take it that he has zero place to go? Like he has no abode?
You know what? I'm going to say yes.
Okay. That's a thing. I mean, there's people who are homeless, but you would not know that they were homeless because they just live with friends or... Yeah. The message is real, you guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the technical definition of homeless is you don't have a home. That doesn't necessarily mean you don't have a place to stay. Like, he clearly just travels around and stays in hotels and motels. But it does, I mean, he does carry a lot of things with him.
That's true.
So
that's true. Okay, I think we've established he is completely homeless.
That's what we're going to believe.
Yeah.
He is homeless.
Put it on IMDb. Every time we see this scene, too, I know it's not in this movie, but it reminds me of the groceries scene from Home Alone when Kevin is carrying the groceries home and the bag's open. I just think the bottom of the trunk is going to go like... Whoosh. And as our 80s music swells with Every Time You Go, You Take a Piece of Me With You. Elton John was going to do a song for this movie.
Saw that.
Like the theme song for this movie. And it was one of the Lawrence brothers. Shout out to the Lawrences. Whoa. And then like What is the story? Like the publishing, they were like, well, we'll own the song.
Right.
The studio was like, well, the song's ours
then. They would
then.
own it, yeah.
He's
and
like, oh, no,
Elton
you don't.
John doesn't do that.
I don't think so. Don't let the sun go down on that deal.
Well, yeah, but that was it. That he didn't want the studio to own the song. It was his song to own.
She's like, hi, I have 3 lines. I do feel bad for this actress. I mean, it's a good role. She just doesn't get to do anything. Except look sad and distraught. Like, she's like, I have 3 minutes of screen time, 2 minutes and 45 seconds of that. I'm on the verge of tears.
Or actually crying.
Or, yeah. She was boohoo crying. This is very 80s. So 80s. Mm-hmm. Our emotional freeze frame. And freeze.
Uh-huh. Which, wasn't that a similar ending to Uncle Buck freeze frame on John Candy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was. So, written, produced, directed by John Hughes. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is a movie that has, over time, kind of gotten its due. Of course, we all knew it. It came on TV around Thanksgiving when we were kids, but I feel like it is achieving or has achieved that cult status now, that iconic Thanksgiving movie status.
Right.
Which
People
is one of the reasons we're doing
really
this commentary.
Like holiday-themed movies. And they like to put movies into those kind of categories. Like, oh, this is a Thanksgiving movie, or this is a Halloween movie, or this is a Christmas movie, or whatever. Mm-hmm. People really seem to enjoy finding that theming and having certain movies to watch at certain times of the year.
Like Die Hard?
Yes. Like Die Hard.
Die Hard that was released in the summer? Uh-huh. Yeah. Whole other can of worms.
Yeah, we'll save that for another time.
Yeah. Save it for our Die Hard commentary.
Okay. That would be a good one. Die Hard.
I'm thinking if you're listening to this and you've made it this far, this is kind of your treat for surviving this commentary. I think you're going to get a Die Hard commentary for Christmas.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yippee-ki-yay, melon farmer.
I was trying to think of that phrase earlier when we were talking about all the F words in that one part of the movie, and I'm sure it was edited or cut on TV. I'm like, what if that's what they put in for all of those?
I want a melon farming car. Take that farming look off your farming face and find me a melon farming car. I'm just going to try to incorporate it.
Say, you're melon farmed.
You're farmed. I'm going to try to incorporate that into my daily vernacular. Like when we had that terrible movie experience, we had a terrible movie experience as we're recording this commentary.
Oh, yeah.
Just a couple of days ago. This guy answered his phone rang not once, but twice, and he took it out and talked on it. And I
answered the call.
I wanted to be like, "Hey, melon farmer, what are you doing? We're watching a movie." Mm-hmm. He looked at me, and I looked at him, and it did not matter. He just continued to do his thing. He was one of those people who's just like, I paid for my ticket. I can do what I want. Mm.
Well, they for sure did.
They for sure did, yeah.
And the lady fell asleep and snored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have subtitles on, and subtitles just came up that said Del Griffith. What's up with that? Wow. What is happening? You're no saint. Now, is this happening in the movie? I don't know.
Interesting.
We're going to have to come back and see. Are they subtitling the song? I can't listen to it because if there's any audio on YouTube or wherever this ends up, they'll come after me. Uh-huh.
Interesting.
I don't think I've ever watched this movie all the way to the end. I think there's a post-credit scene.
Oh, really?
I think so.
Oh.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, we will.
Banana Bamboo, performed by Westworld. Blue Moon of Kentucky by Bill Monroe. Meet the Flintstones, performed by John Candy. 3 coins and that's the joke. I like to bust out the 3 coins in the fountain sometimes. 3 coins in the fountain. Oh, don't come at me, YouTube.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro. Don't come at me.
But don't.
Doobie, played by Larry Hankin of Billy Madison. Make sure that's right. Happy Gilmore's the golf one. Yeah, it's Billy Madison. Mm-hmm. Ben Stein, Wichita Airport rep. I guess his star kind of faded, right? He's kind of gone back to just being like a political commentator and an author.
I guess so. I actually don't hear too much about him anymore.
What if he died and we didn't know?
I don't think that's true. Oh my goodness.
If he dies like 2 days after this commentary goes up, and we're like, but did we do it? Is it
no,
our
don't
fault?
say that.
Knock on wood. Stay strong, Ben Stein.
That's right.
We need you. We need you to brighten this world with your mirth. Hughes. All right, let's see if there's a post-credit scene. There is a post-credit scene. He's got a whole turkey, man.
Wow.
This melon farmer's got a whole turkey. He's got a whole pie.
Yeah. Do you think there were other people there, or do you think that he's
maybe there were, because there's quite a few glasses.
Yeah.
Or cups.
I like that
They're
you call those
glasses.
styrofoam cups glasses. That's how we live, y'all.
Chinette, baby. That's how our Thanksgiving's brought to you by Chinette paper cups. Guys, thank you so much for sitting through no, that's not the right way to say that. Guys, thank you so much for joining us for our audio commentary of planes, trains, and automobiles. If you're watching this around the holiday season, the Thanksgiving holiday season in America, sincerely, happy holidays. Have a wonderful, warm holiday spent with friends and family. The thing about family is it's who you make it.
That's right. And know that we are grateful or thankful for you.
Absolutely. So thankful for you. So, guys, take care. We're going to sign off for now, but we will be back with another commentary very soon. Until then, take care, and we will catch you later. Bye.
Bye.